Hey guys, imagine this. You wake up one summer morning in 1518, ready to grumble about the heat, and your neighbor is in the street dancing. Not in a fun TikTok way. In a my feet are on fire, my soul is possessed. Somebody please send help kind of way. By nightfall, 20 people are dancing until they collapse. By the end of the week, hundreds. No music, no party, just dancing until death. So yeah, tonight, we're diving into the dancing plague of 1518. Forget everything. Hollywood told you this is the real story. And trust me, you probably wouldn't last a day. Before we go on, hit that like button if you enjoy history that sounds like bad fever dreams, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Now, dim the lights, maybe grab a snack, and you might want to stretch your legs for this one. You're in Strasbourg back when it was part of the Holy Roman Empire. It's mid-July. The air smells like stale beer, sweat, and baked bread from the communal oven. Suddenly, Frau Trophäus steps into the street, and she starts dancing. Not joyfully, not gracefully, just jerky, frantic, like she's trying to stomp out invisible spiders. You glance at your neighbor. Weird, right? But by midday, she's still going. And the next day. And the day after that. Visual. People joining in, bewildered faces, some collapsing. Now here's where it gets creepy. Other people start joining her. Not like, oh cool, a flash mob. More like, something has taken over their bodies. Dozens, then hundreds. Feet bleeding through worn leather shoes. Skin slick with sweat. Faces locked in grimaces somewhere between agony and trance. You'd think the town officials would stop it, right? Nope, they dance more. City leaders decided this was, obviously, a supernatural curse that needed to be danced away. So they hired musicians, built a stage, and basically turned it into a medieval Coachella, except the tickets were free and the headliner was misery. And the music, not exactly mood-boosting. Imagine bagpipes, drums, and fiddles, all echoing in narrow streets, while people literally collapse and die from exhaustion, heart attacks, or dehydration. So what caused it? Historians have theories. Mass psychogenic illness, basically stress-induced hysteria spreading like a cold. Remember, 1518 was full of famine, disease, and crushing poverty. Your brain would be looking for any excuse to tap out. Ergot. Poisoning a fungus in rye bread that's basically medieval LSD. Hallucinations, muscle spasms, convulsions. Oh, and a strong urge to move. Religious mass ritual. A strange devotion to Saint Vitus, the patron saint of, you guessed it, dancing. After about a month, the plague just stopped. The survivors limped away, some never fully recovering. The streets smelled of sweat, sickness, and something darker, the scent of fear you couldn't wash away. And Strasbourg quietly agreed to never talk about it again, which naturally means we're still talking about it 5 centuries later. So next time you complain about standing too long at a concert, remember Strasbourg, 1518, where dancing wasn't a choice, it was a death sentence. What do you think caused it? Was it stress, poison, or something? Supernatural? Drop your theories in the comments. And if you enjoyed tonight's trip into the bazaar, hit subscribe because history has way more fever dreams to share. All right, so you've survived the first week in Strasbourg. Somehow you've avoided catching the dance until you die bug. But you can't avoid the sound. The constant, maddening thud, thud, thud of feet hitting the street, day and night. It's in your dreams. It's in your teeth. It's in that one corner of your brain that's quietly whispering, what if you joined them? At first, the city smelled like summer. Fresh bread, straw in the alleyways. Now it smells like sour sweat, rotting food, and the faint copper tang of blood. The music is everywhere, a relentless medieval beat. You hear the boom of drums, the screech of fiddles, the wheeze of bagpipes. Not joyful wedding tunes, more like a soundtrack to exhaustion. You see people twitch mid-step, stumble, fall, and be dragged aside so others can keep going. Every face is different, some wide-eyed and vacant, others clenched in silent screams. Strasbourg isn't a big place. A few hundred people gone rogue in the streets changes the entire rhythm of life. Bakers stop baking because their apprentices are dancing. Markets are half empty because the merchants can't sell to customers who won't stand still. Priests shout sermons in the street, trying to break the curse, but their words are drowned out by the music. Meanwhile, the city's healers are making bank selling vinegar foot baths, strange oils, and charms guaranteed to stop the dancing. Spoiler, none of them work. You're walking home avoiding eye contact when you see your neighbor's daughter polite, quiet, barely ever spoke above a whisper. She's in the middle of the road, skirt torn, hair plastered to her face with sweat, feet bare and bleeding. Her father is shouting for her to stop. She can't hear him, or maybe she just can't stop. Marriages are falling apart. Parents are abandoning kids they can't feed. And the city guard? They've given up trying to pull people out of the crowd. They just watch. News spreads. Travelers come from nearby villages just to see it. Some cheer, some cross themselves. Some join in thinking it's a holy act. Others sell food and wine to the exhausted dancers, knowing they'll pay anything to keep their strength. The mayor, desperate to save the city's image, hires more musicians to play them out of it, which is the medieval equivalent of curing a headache by giving you a drum set. This is when things get truly bizarre. Some dancers seem happy. They're smiling, laughing, throwing their heads back like they're at the best festival of their lives. But then, mid-laugh, they collapse, dead before they hit the ground. Others begin chanting in strange tongues, shouting prayers to saints nobody's ever heard of. One man, so the story goes, danced while clutching a wooden spoon, as if stirring an invisible pot. Another held a baby the entire time, somehow never dropping it, until both were carried away. Weeks pass. The dancing plague isn't stopping. The city council decides to take drastic action, not by stopping the music, but by moving the dancers. They're herded into a special hall outside the city, built over a bridge so the wind can cool them. Priests stand by, swinging incense, chanting, sprinkling holy water. And yet, even here, some drop dead mid-step. The survivors keep going. And here's the strangest part. When the dancing finally stops weeks later, no one is punished. No trials, no accusations. Just silence. It's as if Strasbourg collectively decided this never happened. But history has a way of leaking through the cracks. And now, 500 years later, we're still wondering, was it sickness? Was it madness? Or was it something that could, in theory, happen again? So tell me, if this broke out in your city tomorrow, would you watch from the sidelines, or would you join the dance? So, the dancers are still at it. You've made it 3 weeks without joining in. Congratulations. But here's the thing. The plague is starting to shape reality around you. It's no longer just a street performance gone wrong. It's life. At first, people tried to block the streets. Now, they've turned them into lanes. Dancers in the center, walkers on the edges. Children skip past bleeding adults like it's normal. A butcher hangs sausages from his window, selling to dancers mid-step. You watch one man bite into a pork link while shuffling forward, eyes glassy, chewing like his life depends on it. In a way, it does. You pass a group sitting on the church steps. They're not dancing. Their legs are trembling, their clothes soaked, their skin pale and splotched. They've survived the dancing, but they look older, hollowed out, as if something inside them didn't come back. One man's feet are so raw he walks on his heels. A woman's hair has turned white in less than a month, and they all share the same distant stare, as if the music is still in their heads. Rumors spread that some survivors miss it. They speak in whispers, saying the dance felt like floating, like their bodies weren't theirs anymore. No hunger, no pain, just movement. One widow claims she saw her dead husband's face in the crowd, dancing beside her, only to vanish when she blinked. A baker swears his dead son whispered a song in his ear while he danced, a tune no one else could hear. Priests hold closed-door meetings, debating if this is divine punishment or demonic trickery. Some think it's Saint Vitus himself, forcing the wicked to repent through dance. Others believe the devil is laughing in the shadows. You overhear one priest mutter, "It's not God, and it's not the devil. It's something older." He won't explain what he means. Here's the thing about night in Strasbourg during the plague. It's not quiet. You wake to the sound of bare feet slapping stone in the dark. A small group dances under moonlight, their shadows stretching long across the walls. No musicians, no crowd. Just the sound of breathing and the scrape of shoes against the ground. Some swear these night dancers never stop, not even to drink water. And by dawn, they're gone. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the dancing stops. No ceremony, no warning. The music dies, the streets are empty, and the city is left in a stunned, ringing silence. But here's the chilling part in the months that follow. Certain songs become dangerous. Play the wrong tune in a tavern, and someone might stand up and sway, just slightly. And every time it happens, the room goes dead quiet. No one wants to see history repeat itself. The dancing plague of 1518 is officially over. But in Strasbourg, people start locking their doors at night. Not because of thieves, but because of music. So, here's the question. If something as simple as rhythm could hijack hundreds of minds 500 years ago, what could it do to us today? Comment your theory below. And if you've got a playlist you swear could start an apocalypse, maybe, keep it to yourself. The year is 1518. The plague is gone, but not forgotten. For a while, Strasbourg walks on eggshells, as if sound itself might wake the curse. But here's the thing about human nature. We forget fast. Within a few years, new markets open, new songs play, and the dancing madness becomes an odd bedtime story for children. At least on the surface. Historians trying to study the event today hit a strange wall. Parish records from those months, missing. Council notes, edited. Personal letters, torn out, burned, or mysteriously lost in floods. It's as if the city itself decided, this didn't happen. We're not writing it down. And that means we're left with scraps. A few eyewitness accounts, a handful of drawings, and enough unanswered questions to keep conspiracy lovers up at night. Some say the council destroyed the records because the cause was political. That maybe the dancing was a form of protest. Imagine it. Peasants crushed by taxes, debts, famine, suddenly finding themselves in a trance-like state that conveniently halts all regular work. An entire economy frozen and the elite panicking. If that's true, maybe it wasn't a curse at all. Maybe it was the first workers' strike in history, disguised as madness. Fast forward 5 centuries. Our world is louder, busier, and more connected than ever. Music isn't just in the streets. It's in your headphones, in every cafe, in every TikTok trend. So let's ask the uncomfortable question. Have you ever thought, what if the dancing plague happened today? Would it be dismissed as a viral stunt? Would people join in just for views? Would cities try to quarantine dancers? Or would they monetize it, sell merch, book arenas, make a Netflix documentary while people collapse on stage? Here's the thing. Mass hysteria isn't medieval. It's human. Today, it might not be caused by bagpipes or St. Vitus. It could be a sound frequency hidden in a song, a social media challenge that spreads like wildfire, a chemical reaction from something in our food chain. And by the time anyone realizes it's not just fun, it's already too late. Hundreds, maybe thousands moving in sync, unable to stop, smiling until their bodies give out. The dancing plague of 1518 isn't just a weird historical footnote. It's a warning. Because if it happened once, it can happen again. And this time, with billions of people connected, it could spread faster than anyone could dance away from it. So, if you saw the first signs one person in the street, swaying to music no one else hears, would you walk away? Or would you pull out your phone and start recording? Close your eyes for a moment. You're in Strasbourg, 1518, the air heavy with heat and incense. Now, open them. You're in New York City, 2025. It's rush hour. And the first dancer appears in Times Square. At first you think it's just another street performer, good footwork, nice rhythm. People gather, record on their phones, post it to TikTok. The hashtags roll in. Hash street groove hash, dance vibes hash, weird but cool. But by the next day, there are 7 more dancers. Same jerky, relentless movements. Same blank stares. No water breaks, no smiles. Just the sound of sneakers slapping pavement. Within a week, it's global. Clips from Tokyo, London, Sao Paulo, dancers swaying in subway cars, in office hallways, in hospital waiting rooms. Live streams rack up millions of views. News anchors laugh at first. The world's biggest flash mob. But the laughter stops when people start collapsing on camera. Heart attacks, dehydration. And still, they keep moving until the moment they hit the ground. Governments scramble. At first, they try gentle interventions, music bans in public spaces, sound muffling patrols. Then, stricter measures. Entire neighborhoods quarantined. Dancers herded into open stadiums for their own safety. You scroll through your feed, and every other post is a shaky video of moving feet. Even muted, you swear you can hear the rhythm. Here's the terrifying part. In 1518, the music was external. Bagpipes, drums, fiddles. In 2025, the music is in your head. Doctors detect a strange brainwave pattern in every dancer, a constant, pulsing 120 beats per minute, as if some invisible metronome is locked inside them. Some victims say they can see the beat flashing lights in their vision, impossible to ignore. Within a month, cities feel hollow. You pass through an empty grocery store, shelves full, lights buzzing, no one shopping. Down the street, hundreds of people are moving in unison, their shoes scraping against asphalt. And here's the worst part. It's not just strangers anymore. It's your coworker, your cousin, your best friend who texted you an hour ago saying they heard the song. The dancing plague of 1518 killed maybe dozens. But in a connected, wired, hyper-distracted world, it wouldn't stop at hundreds. It could take millions. And if it started tomorrow, would we treat it like a medical emergency? Or would we make it trend? The year is 1518. The streets of Strasbourg are quiet for the first time in a month. The last dancers have fallen, some alive, most not. No one speaks of it. No one sings. Now, the year is 2025. And silence has become impossible. Frau Troffa, the woman who started it all, is carried away on a cart. Eyes still half open, lips twitching to music no one hears. Priests lock church doors. Merchants sweep blood and sweat from their doorsteps. Families burn their shoes in the hope the curse won't cling to them. The smell of incense fills the air, not for worship, but to mask the rot. Your city's skyline glows with strange flickers at night. Not lightning, not billboards. Hundreds of synchronized phone screens lighting up as dancers move in perfect time. The government's official broadcasts repeat the same advice. Do not approach, do not film, avoid the sound. But it's too late. The sound is in every video, every live stream, every ringtone. Hospitals overflow not with the sick, but with the exhausted. Paramedics collapse mid-rescue. Pilots abandon cockpits after hearing the beat over the radio. And the dancers? They fill the streets like rivers, flowing toward city centers, toward one another as if drawn by something ancient and invisible. Back in Strasbourg, 1518, the council sends the last surviving dancers to a shrine dedicated to Saint Vitus. They are forced to walk barefoot over the mountains, their blood marking the path, until the rhythm leaves their bodies. Some never return. In 2025, there is no shrine, no saint, only screens, only signal. And every time a city tries to shut it down, the rhythm reappears somewhere else carried in the pockets of the unknowing. It's midnight. You're home. You haven't gone outside in days. You keep your phone on silent, the TV off, the radio unplugged. And then, somewhere deep in your apartment building, you hear it. A faint, steady beat. Slow at first, then faster. You feel your toes twitch, your heel tap. And in the dark, you start to move. The dancing plague of 1518 was never truly solved. It ended until it didn't. The question is, if history's strangest curse came for us again, would we have the willpower to resist? Or would we dance? Fade out heartbeat and drum merging into silence. So, here we are. You've survived the streets of Strasbourg, the sweat, the blisters, the relentless drumbeat echoing in your skull like that one song you cannot get out of your head. If you're still here listening, that means you didn't collapse in the middle of the square. And for that, I'm genuinely proud of you. And before we go any further, thank you. No, really. You could have been anywhere else right now, scrolling endlessly, doom-scrolling news or watching a raccoon steal someone's lunch on TikTok, but instead, you chose to spend your precious time in a place where history breathes, laughs, and sometimes coughs suspiciously into a plague mask. That means more to me than you might think. If you've been following along since the start of this episode, you've walked with me through cobblestone streets, stepped over spilled beer mugs, dodged enthusiastic dancers, and maybe just maybe smelled the faint aroma of bread baking in the distance. We've talked about hysteria, about the strange dance between mind and body, about how one woman's mysterious jig somehow pulled an entire town into a vortex of music and exhaustion. And somewhere along the way, you might have realized, the past isn't just in dusty textbooks. It's alive. It's weird. It's sometimes terrifying, sometimes hilarious, and always human. I want you to picture something for me. Right now, the dancing plague is over. The music has faded. The townsfolk are collapsed in their homes, feet raw, hearts pounding, the fever broken. The square is empty except for a few stray chickens, pecking at bits of bread in the cracks between stones. You're still there. You're leaning against a wooden post, catching your breath, thinking about what you've just seen. And then you glance at me. I'm right there with you, leaning on the other side of the post, smirking just a little. Wild story, huh? I say. And you laugh, not because it's funny exactly, but because you can't believe something so absurd and yet so real actually happened. That's the magic of doing this together, of spending nights traveling through time without ever leaving your chair, couch, or bed. You and I, we're travelers. We go places most people don't even think to visit. We skip the tourist traps and head straight for the dark alley where a medieval baker is whispering about the time the miller's wife hexed his sourdough. We walk into the back room of a 15th century tavern where a monk is scribbling something he's definitely not supposed to be writing. And we listen, we watch, we imagine. Because we're not just learning history, we're living it. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to ask you something. Something I've been thinking about ever since we started this little journey. What if the plague, not the dancing one, but any plague hit today's world? And I'm not talking about recent history either. I mean full-on, medieval-style chaos. No antibiotics, no modern hospitals, no Instagram doctors giving you questionable advice in 60-second reels. Would people barricade themselves in their homes? Would we have dance marathons streamed live? Hashtags trending? #last one standing #dance orty? Would TikTok challenges somehow turn into survival contests? Or would the same mass hysteria of 1518 take over, just with Bluetooth speakers instead of fiddles? I'd love to hear your take. Seriously. Drop it in the comments because this community is full of sharp, funny, wildly creative people, and your theories are always my favorite part of the day. And speaking of community, you're the reason this channel exists. Every time you watch, every time you comment, every time you share one of these strange, beautiful, slightly disturbing historical deep dives with a friend, you're keeping the campfire burning. You're making sure we can keep wandering through forgotten stories and pulling them back into the light. This channel isn't a lecture hall. It's not a dusty museum where you're afraid to touch anything. It's a tavern table, late at night, with a candle flickering between us, while we trade tales that are equal parts true, tragic, and ridiculous. And you, yes, you are one of the storytellers here. Now, if you've been nodding along, smiling, maybe even laughing under your breath tonight, I have a favor to ask. Tell me what story you want to hear next. Do you want to explore the frozen desperation of a medieval winter when firewood was more precious than gold? Do you want to slip into the shadowy back alleys of Victorian London where con artists made fortunes in a single night? Or maybe you want to climb aboard a storm-tossed ship heading for the edge of the known world where sea monsters might not be as mythical as the mapmakers claimed. Your suggestions shape this channel. They're the compass that points us to the next adventure. So drop your ideas in the comments seriously, even the weird ones, especially the weird ones. But here's something I need you to hear before we part tonight. History is not just back then. It's the thread in every story we tell ourselves today. It's the reason certain fears still make our skin crawl. It's the spark behind certain traditions we don't even question. It's the mirror that shows us who we've always been, the good, the bad, and the gloriously absurd. When we talk about the dancing plague, we're not just laughing at some bizarre moment in time. We're also peeking into the human mind, into what happens when belief, panic, and exhaustion collide. We're seeing how quickly a whole community can move as one, whether in joy or in fear. And that matters, because in some ways we haven't changed all that much. Now, I promised you something. We've been running, dancing, imagining, traveling for the past hour or so. It's time to slow down. The room you're in is quiet now. Maybe there's the faint hum of a fan, the rustle of a blanket as you shift. Your breathing starts to match the slower rhythm I'm speaking in now. And in just a moment, I'm going to leave you with something special. A stretch of warm, rich, soulful music designed to help your mind drift away from 1518 and into dreams of your own. Picture this. You're lying in a meadow, the night sky a blanket of deep velvet above you. The air is cool, carrying the smell of grass and distant wood smoke. Somewhere nearby, a stream is trickling over smooth stones. And far off, a lone violin plays not frantic, not wild, but slow and sweet, like the heartbeat of someone you trust. That's where I'm leaving you tonight. Right there, in that meadow. No crowds, no dust, no frantic footsteps pounding the ground. Just peace. Before we fade into that music, one last thing. Thank you for showing up, for listening with curiosity, for caring about the stories the world has almost forgotten. You are the reason I stay up late, scribbling ideas, reading strange old diaries, digging through historical archives that smell like damp parchment, just to bring you something that feels alive again. And I can't wait to see you next time. So, dim the lights, get comfortable, and let the music take you the rest of the way. Good night, traveler. Until our next journey.